And this town, don't we love it now? Everybody's waiting for the next surprise. Round the corner, man, hiding in the trash can. Something's waiting now to pounce and how you'll scream. This is Halloween, red and black, ugly green, hearts to scare. Well, that's just fine. Say it once, say it twice. Take a chance and roll the dice. Ride with the moon in the dead of night. Everybody scream, everybody scream. In a town of Halloween, I am the clown with the tearaway face. Here in a flash and covered down the streets. I am the who comes there. I am the moon going to your head. I am the shadow in the moon at night, filling your dreams to the brim with fright. This is Halloween, this is Halloween, 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 Halloween. Tender love things everywhere. Life's no fun without a good scare. That's our job, but we're not mean. In our town of Halloween, in this town, don't we love it now? Everyone's waiting for the next surprise. Skeleton Jack, my catcher in the back, is great like a banshee, make you jump out of your skin. This is Halloween, everybody scream. Would you please make way for a very special guy? Almond Jack is king of the pumpkin patch. Everyone hail to the pumpkin king now. This is Halloween, this is Halloween, 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 Halloween. In this town we call home. Everyone hail to the pumpkin song.
Sup, it's P. Rich from the Hatchet Boys. Yeah, so today I'm going to be reviewing and discussing Halloween 1978, directed by John Carpenter, produced by John Carpenter and Debra Hill. Halloween is an independent slasher film directed and scored by John Carpenter. And yeah, it stars Donald Pleasence and Jamie Lee Curtis in her first film debut. Also with Pj Souls and Nancy Loomis. Basically, this film, 15 years after murdering his sister on Halloween night in 1963, Michael Myers escapes from a mental hospital and returns to a small town of Haddonfield, Illinois, to kill again. So yeah, the film opens with a brief open and title credits sequence showing a jack-o'-lantern. Yeah, it's awesome, and we get the famous theme music by John Carpenter, the Halloween theme music. It's very well known. It's my favorite music score in cinematic history, for sure. It's well known. Yeah, so the title screen itself is it's awesome, man. You see the jack-o'-lantern and you get the music. It's great. And then once it stops, the lighting quickly changes to reveal that the eye and nose form the shape of a man holding a knife. And the film begins on October 31st, 1963, Halloween night in Haddonfield, Illinois. In the middle of a street stands a two-story white, Victorian house. And someone begins walking towards it. We get a POV shot of someone walking towards the house. And we see Judith Myers. I do believe she's 16 or 17. And so played by Sandy Johnson. And through the front door, she's kissing her boyfriend. And yeah, so they end up moving off the couch and they take it upstairs. And then the person outside follows them around the side of the house and watches through the window. And the boyfriend asks Judith if they're all alone, and she replies that someone by the name of Michael is around someplace. Her boyfriend puts on a clown mask, jokingly and kissing her. She laughs and tells him to take it off and suggests that they go upstairs. Like I said, then the person outside the house follows them back around the front. The shape sees the light in the upstairs window and go out and begins swiftly walking up side the house through the kitchen door quickly, opens up the like cupboard drawer and takes out a knife, and then he goes upstairs and the boyfriend leaves the house. And then Michael goes, well, we don't know it's Michael, but then we see like the POV shot of whoever going up the stairs and sees Judith naked sitting in the mirror combing her hair, and starts stabbing her, and she says, Michael, and then she ends up dying, and then we see the POV shot of going down the stairs and then outside the house, and a car pulls up, and it's Michael's parents, and they're like, Michael, and take off his clown mask that he put on from her boyfriend, Judith's boyfriend. And yeah, it's great. The camera work was very well done. It's supposed to be a still shot, but they're still kind of moving, but it looks great. I love it. I love how they do that, and you get the iconic music of not the Halloween theme song, but just like all the music in this is just, it's great. So anyways, then we see what is it, like 15 years later, October 30th, 1978. Yeah, like 15 years later, in Smith Groves, Illinois, a doctor by the name of Sam Loomis, played by Don Pleasance, and his assistant, a nurse named Marion Chambers, played by Nancy Stevens. And they are driving to the local sanitarium, Smith's Grove, to have Michael Myers, now 21 years old and still like, yeah, he has like a court hearing, and they're taking him in front of the judge, where his future incarceration will be determined. So in the car is a matchbook with an advertisement for the Rabin Red Lounge. As Marion quickly smokes a cigarette, she questions Dr. Loomis's desire to do this when suddenly they see that several mental patients are lurking around the entrance to the sanitarium. Dr. Loomis rushes out of the car into the rain to see what is going on. And just as a patient leaps on top of the car, it is Michael Myers. And so, yeah, Marion Chambers rolls down the window to see what the hell's going on. And then, so anyways, yeah, this is a great scene because he hits the passenger side window. She's scared. She's like on the passenger side, and he hits the window and smashes it, and he ends up pulling Marion Chambers out of the car, and he jumps in the car and takes off, and we just get a Loomis saying, he's gone from here, the evil's gone. It's just The dialogue's great. I love it. And then the next day on Halloween in Haddonfield, a young girl named Laurie Strode, played by Jamie Lee Curtis, is leaving her house to walk to school. On her way out, her father, Morgan Strode, asks Laurie, he's a real estate agent, and he tells her not to forget to drop the key off at the old abandoned Myers house, because family is coming by to look at it later. As Laurie continues walking down the street, an 8-year-old boy, Tommy Doyle, walks up to her, and Laurie is going to babysit him later that evening. And as they walk together to the Myers house, Tommy tells her, Laurie, not to go up there. Nobody ever goes up there. That's the boogeyman's house, basically. So, she drops off the key, and then we see like Michael inside the house, like just over his shoulder, like you don't see him. It's just like a dark figure, and he's looking out the window at Laurie, and then he walks out, and and then he's watching Laurie walk away, singing to herself. When suddenly the shape from inside the Myers house appears right behind her, staring at her, walking away. And meanwhile, back at Smith's Grove, Dr. Loomis is debating with another doctor, Dr. Wynn, about whether or not Michael has returned to his hometown in Haddonfield. Dr. Wynn doesn't think Michael could have drive, but he was driving very well last night, Loomis says to him. And so, Dr. Loomis is now going to Haddonfield to go find Michael. So later that day, Laurie sits in English class at Haddonfield High School, and when she sees Smith's Grove sanitarium car parked outside the street, outside of the window, Michael standing beside it in a grayish white mask watching her. Laurie's frightened and continues to look back when suddenly the teacher calls Laurie to answer the question. And Laurie's like all startled, and Laurie responds to the question, and when she looks back through the window, Michael and the car have disappeared. So meanwhile at Haddonfield Elementary School, the bell rings and the children begin running out of the building. Tommy is leaving school carrying a large pumpkin, followed by like a few bullies that are bullying Tommy and taunting him about the boogeyman is coming to get him that night. Tommy's like, he's like confused about knowing about the boogeyman, but is also frightened. He begins to run away, but he trips and falls and squishes his pumpkin. And then the bullies are laughing at him, and then they run off, and then Michael jumps out and grabs one of them and scares the shit out of one of the bullies. And then Michael climbs back into the Smith's Grove sanitarium car and begins to drive alongside Tommy, who is walking down the sidewalk. And then Michael drives away. So he's seen Tommy with Laurie dropping the key off at her house. So that's why I'm guessing he's following Tommy. So, now we see Sam Loomis, Dr. Loomis, on the highway somewhere between Smith's Grove and Haddonfield. Dr. Loomis is at a telephone booth speaking with someone from the Haddonfield Police Department And he's warning them that Michael Myers has escaped and he's coming to the town, and but no one's really taking him seriously or anything. So then, uh, before he leaves, he sees a tow truck parked nearby, uh, by the payphone he was at. Inside, he finds Michael's white hospital gown and the matchbook rabbit in red lounge. So now Dr. Loomis is sure that Michael is in Hattonfield and rushes back to his car. And then he doesn't notice a body. The tow truck driver laying in the nearby grass. Oh, yeah. So then, meanwhile, the students are being released after school, Hattonfield High School. Laurie is walking home with her friend Linda, and Linda, played by PJ Souls, and who's complaining about how many school activities she will have to be involved with in the next day. And then, yeah, because, and then anyways, so then their other friend, Annie Brackett, played by Nancy Loomis, finds them. Andy and Laurie talk about their babysitting, or like assignments for the night. Laurie's babysitting Tommy, and Annie's babysitting Lindsay Wallace, and they live right across the street from one another. So now, while they're walking, the Smiths Grove Sanitarium car goes speeding down the street. Annie yells at the driver that speed kills, and suddenly the car stops, but instantly speeds back up and leaves again, forgetting. Yeah, so yeah, it was like a close encounter with Michael there when he drove by, then stops, and then he went back. Um, so Laurie and Annie continue on when suddenly Laurie sees Michael hiding behind a bush ahead of them, and Annie doesn't see him. And when she rushes over to the bush, there's nobody there. Annie thinks that Laurie's seen men behind bushes because she is desperate for.
Only look
Look where?
behind the bush.
Creep. Laurie, dear. He wants to talk to you. He wants to take you out tonight.
And then Annie goes home, and so Laurie's like all scared and like paranoid now, and she bumps into Mr. Brackett, played by Charles Cyphers, and it's Annie's father. He's the sheriff of Hattonfield. And anyway, so yeah, I mean, the like dialogue in this is not the greatest. I mean, it's back in '78, but yeah, it's kind of cheesy in some scenes. But yeah, so anyways, when Laurie's home, she yeah, so when Laurie's home, she looks out her window and sees Michael standing in the neighbor's backyard, and behind the sheets, hanging there, and it's a great fucking like a great scene. I love it, man. It's one of my favorite scenes with Michael. Yeah, there's quite a few in this movie, but it looks great. And then she keeps looking out the window, but he's like gone. He's gone, and it's like it's creepy as fuck. I always love that. Laurie gets picked up by Annie, and they drive to the babysitter's house. They're driving to go babysit Tommy and Annie, and they end up seeing Annie's father, and they're smoking a joint, and anyways. So they see her father, the sheriff, at the hardware store, and they ask what happened because the alarm is ringing, and he just said, must be in a couple kids. All they took was like a couple masks, a rope, and some knives, and so they drive off, and Dr. Loomis goes to Sheriff Brackett, and then in the background you see the Smith Groves car driving past down on Plecense. You just missed it. Anyways, so now the girls reach to the kids' house to watch them, and yeah, so Annie drops Laurie off at the Doyle house and pulls into the driveway at the Wallace's house across the street. As she walks into the house, the Smiths Grove Sanitarium car pulls up along the curb. Michael gets out of the car and hides behind a tree in the Wallace yard, watching Annie. And then meanwhile, Dr. Loomis and Brackett arrive at the abandoned Myers house, and they begin to search inside when they find like a half-eaten dog, and Loomis is like, he must have got hungry. Just awesome. It's awesome. And Brackett says a man couldn't eat a dog like that, and Dr. Loomis replies that this isn't a man. So the two of them walk upstairs, and Dr. Loomis shows Sheriff Brackett the bedroom where Judith was murdered, and suddenly then like a drown spout falls away from the building and breaks the window near them, and startling Dr. Loomis, who draws his gun, he begins describing Michael Myers' 15 years experience of watching Michael, seeing nothing but pure evil inside him. And that's a great dialogue. This is my favorite dialogue in the whole film, when Dr. I was going to say Dr. Phil, when Dr. fucking Loomis, fucking Dr. Phil, no, Dr. Loomis is describing Michael. It's awesome. I love the dialogue. It's so great, and it just describes everything about him and everything you need to know. It's awesome. I love it.
I met him 15 years ago. I was told there was nothing left. No reason, no conscience, no understanding, and even the most rudimentary sense of life or death, of good or evil, right or wrong. I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face and the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. I spent 8 years trying to reach him, and then another 7 trying to keep him locked up, because I realized that what was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil.
Like, what do we do? It's so great, and it just describes everything about him and everything you need to know. It's awesome. I love it. So then Dr. Loomis tells Sheriff Brackett to inform the rest of the police, just to ask them to keep their mouths shut. and Dr. Loomis decides to stay behind and wait for Michael because he thinks that he will return back to the Myers house. And at the Doyle house, Laurie sits reading King Arthur to Tommy, and Tommy becomes bored and says that he doesn't like that book and reveals several comic books. And then so now Tommy, being curious, asks Laurie what is the boogeyman. But then suddenly the phone rings before she can reply. It is Annie calling from the Wallace house. She tells Laurie that she just spoke with Ben Tramer and told him that Laurie was really attracted to him. Laurie becomes angry and embarrassed and tells Annie basically to fuck off and don't talk to him. Right at that moment, Tommy looks out the window and sees the shape standing next to the Wallace house, like a black silhouette. And he screams for Laurie that the boogeyman is outside, but Laurie looks out the window and doesn't see anybody there. Then continues on with a conversation with Andy on the phone. And at the same time, Michael has reached the back of the house near the kitchen door where Annie is in the kitchen making popcorn, not noticing Michael standing right outside the door. It's great, man. It's awesome just how they make the shape just standing there, it's fucking awesome. So how they utilize Michael, it's awesome. I love it. So then Annie accidentally pours the butter all over his shirt and her pants and removes them. While Michael continues to watch, Annie finds a small button-up shirt and puts it on, wearing nothing else other than panties. At that moment, Michael accidentally knocks a hand plant to the ground, shattering it, drawing Annie's attention to the kitchen door, but Michael has disappeared from the back door there. So now Annie complains to Lindsay again that Lester is getting on her nerves. But soon after, she hears Lester stop barking, and he starts whimpering. Outside, Lester is dangling in the air. Michael fucking strangled the dog and kills the dog. So inside the Doyle house, Laurie and Tommy sit watching the thing. Once again, Tommy asks Laurie about the boogeyman. Laurie says that the boogeyman and all other Halloween superstitions are all make-believe, and that Halloween is only a time when people play tricks on each other. Seeing that Tommy's still afraid, Laurie promises that she won't let anything happen to him. Tommy asks to make the jack-o'-lantern. So anyways, back at the Wallace house, Annie goes to the outdoor laundry room in the backyard and puts her clothes in the washing machine, never seeing the shape peering in at her from the door and the window. Yeah, so basically he's just watching them and then toying with them or whatever. So anyways, Annie tells Laurie if it's okay if Lindsay Wallace can go over with Tommy and Laurie, because she's going to go pick up Paul. And so anyways, Annie goes in the garage, and she goes in the car and it's all fogged up. And then, right out of the back seat, Michael starts choking her, and he stabs her with a knife, but he's just choking the shit over her. It's awesome. I always loved it. yeah, I mean, just like Annie's expression when she dies, it's like okay, and then but anyways, when she dies, she's like hits the car horn and the car horn's going on. Yeah, so Annie's now dead, and Tommy's looking out the window and he sees Michael carrying Annie's body inside. Starts. And so now Linda and her boyfriend Bob go to Lindsay Wallace's house, and they notice Annie's not there, and they're making out on the couch, and so they go upstairs and they end up having sex, and yeah, it's quite funny, anyways. So PJ Souls like tells Bob to go get her a beer, and so he leaves, and he goes downstairs to go get a beer. It's all dark, and I love it. I love how they use the blue color in this film. But anyways, so Bob hears something, and he thinks like someone's playing a prank on him. And he goes to open the closet door, and Michael just comes out of nowhere and just fucking picks him up by one hand and then puts a knife right through him. And Bob's just fucking stuck to the wall with the knife. It's great, man. I love it. That's probably, yeah, that's my favorite kill.
Okay, Linda. Come on out.
In this film, and then so Michael plays a trick on PJ Souls. He like goes up to the room and opens the door, and he's got like just a sheet over him with two eye holes cut out and Bob's glasses on. and yeah, it's fucking great. And then so like she asks for a beer, and he's not answering her, and she gets all pissed off, and then she's like, "Oh, I'm calling Laurie because like Annie's not around or anything, and nothing's going right or whatever for her." So she calls up Laurie, and then she's being Michael comes behind her and starts fucking like choking her, strangling her, and she's like on the phone, and Laurie's on the other end, and she just thinks it's Andy fucking with her again, like pranking her, and yeah, now PJ Souls is dead, and then while she drops to the ground, she pulls off the sheet off Michael, and this is a great shot too, man. You see Michael with his like head kind of down, and he like kind of goes up like this. He raises his head with the phone, and he's just listening to Laurie like go on like, if this is a prank, I'm gonna kill you, like going on. And so anyways, yeah, but it was a great shot of fucking Michael, and the first time we see it like close up with his mask.
See anything you like? All right, come on, where's my beer?
Hello? Hello? All right, Annie. First I get your famous chewing, now I get your famous squealing. Are you fooling around again? I'll kill you if this is a joke. Annie? Annie?
It's awesome. It's great. And then, so anyways, Laurie puts the kids to bed, and then she's like kind of like worried about it, I guess, like thinking what's going on over next door. So she leaves the Doyle's house, and she goes over to the Wallace's, and she goes in, and it's like fucking dark as fuck. Anyways, and then she notices like no one's around, and she goes upstairs, and she goes into the bedroom and sees Andy on the bed with the tombstone that says here lies Judith Myers. Man, it's fucking awesome. It's great, man. I love it. It's so great. Now she's freaking out, and like, so anyways, and then he takes his knife and he's going to stab her, and then he just gets her arm, like her shoulder up here, like her arm, and then she falls down the stairs. I love how the camera work goes, like while she's falling, it's like the point of view of her falling, like it's spinning, like you're falling down the stairs with her. It's awesome. Fucking love it. And so anyways, yeah, she's fucking pretty banged up now, falling down the stairs and getting like fucking stabbed, like not like bad, but like pretty, she got slashed. And anyway, so she's going, yeah, she's downstairs. She gets up and she's trying to get out the back door, but there's a rake there. So she goes out the fucking door and runs back over to the Doyle's house. But running, this is when it's getting really intense and fucking just awesome. The suspense is just like building up. It already did build up, but it's getting like really good, man. And it's just it's so awesome. And she forgot her keys inside the Doyle's house, so she doesn't have her keys, and she locked the door, and she can't get in, and she's like freaking out that she can't get in. She doesn't have her keys, so she's like going next door to get people to help her. No one's helping her, and so anyways, she like throws like this flower pot at Tommy's window. He wakes up and he goes downstairs to wake her. So he goes downstairs and opens the door and ready to time it. But it's awesome, like shot when you see like she keeps looking behind her and sees Michael coming towards her. That's awesome shot too, man. I love that whole scene. Like, oh man, like suspense is so fucking well done in that scene when Michael's coming towards her. And so she gets inside and then she tells the kids to go upstairs. And anyways, the kids are all scared now. And but yeah, she like basically tells the kids to go hide upstairs. And she notices the window is open, and so Michael's behind the couch, and he like jumps up at her and tries to kill her, and fucking she takes a knitting needle and fucking stabs him right in the neck with it, and so he's on the floor, and she goes upstairs to see the kids, and and tells the kids to go down the street and to go call the police, to go to a neighbor's house. And anyways, then you see Michael there, like right, he came up from the stairs and he's like standing right there. And after the kids leave, but it's fucking awesome, man. And so she hides in the closet, and Michael breaks through the closet, and it's very well lit too, man. It's awesome seeing Michael bust through the closet. Fuck, I love that scene too. It's great. It's so much suspense in it. I just fucking love it, man. And so she like stabs him in the eye with a coat hanger, and he falls to the ground, and then he wakes up, and it's awesome just how he like wakes up. He's like laying on the floor, and then he just like just how he wakes up. It's fucking awesome. And then Laurie's like starts kind of walking. She doesn't notice that Michael's getting back up, and he grabs her and he starts choking her, and she pulls off his mask, and then Loomis is there, and then he fucking starts shooting him with a fucking revolver and gets him like 6 times, and he goes right off the balcony, like, and then so yeah, and then now Laurie goes to Loomis, and she goes, "It was the boogeyman," and then Loomis goes, "A matter of fact, it was." Oh, fucking awesome! And then he goes out the balcony to go look at Michael, and Michael's gone, and it's so fucking awesome, man. And And then we see like shots of like places Michael might be, and you hear this breathing, his breathing. It's fucking awesome, man. I fucking love it, man.
There.
There's nothing to be scared of.
Are you sure? How?
Killed him.
You can't kill the boogeyman.
Get in there.
So yeah, my first impression seeing this film, I was like 7, I think. I watched it on TV, so it was the TV version. But I like that version too because there's things that you see that you haven't seen before. Like if you just buy like the movie. Yeah. So anyways, the TV version, there's a couple scenes in it that you don't see in the like original film. But anyways, and I loved it, man. I fucking loved it. I was scared too when I watched this movie, but I fucking loved it. And then the next day, yeah, it was Halloween when I watched this when I was a kid. And then the next day I went to the movie store and I went in the horror section and because I wanted to see if there was more of these movies. And fucking sure enough, there was Halloween 2, Halloween 3, Halloween 4, Halloween 5. Yeah, 5 was the only one. Because 6 didn't come out yet at that time. So anyways, I remember it, and then I rented 2. And I was like, oh fuck, I love this movie even more. Like at the time, yeah, like 2 is right up there with 1 for me. Like I love Halloween 2. But anyways, yeah, so I always loved this fucking movie. Yeah, the characters are great, man. I love Donald Pleasance as Dr. Loomis. He's fucking great. I love him. And yeah, Laurie Strode by Jamie Lee Curtis. Like she was great. Like she did a good job playing Laurie. Yeah, she was fine. I liked her. Yeah, PJ Souls. Yeah, they're all good. Their acting, I mean, it's not horrible. It's not horrible acting. Like Donald Pleasance carries this whole fucking movie in whatever scenes he's in. Oh, for sure. Like even Michael Myers. Yeah, a couple people played Michael Myers in this film, but most of the time it's Nick Castle. Nick Castle is great as Michael. I'd say one of my favorite Michael Myers for sure. Yeah, I would have to say. Probably my second favorite Michael Myers is played by Nick Castle. Yeah, like I mean, the on-screen chemistry with all the characters is good. Like it's not the best acting or anything besides Donald Pleasance, and for it being Jamie Lee Curtis's first film she's ever acted in, she did a good job. I think she did. So yeah, my favorite character would have to be Loomis for sure. My worst character would probably be Linda or Bob. Yeah, Bob's kind of what we don't really get in a whole lot of screen time with Bob, but I would say Linda's probably the worst character for me. Yeah, so the technical elements in this film, I mean, yeah, there's no special effects. It's just pretty straightforward. And say with the storyline, it's a great storyline. It's simple too, right? It's just like escaped mental patient that stalks babysitters and kills them on Halloween night. It's that simple. And his doctor, his psychiatrist, Dr. Loomis, is there to stop him, right? It's a real simple concept, and it's great. I love it. Storyline's great. Story structure is great. Yeah, the lighting is great in this movie. The blue lighting is very well done. The camera shots are good too. I like all the camera work in this film. It's great. I was mentioning before, just like the scene where we see Michael come out of the darkness, coming to stab Laurie right behind her. That was fucking awesome. I love that. And there's so many great shots in this with Michael. In the closet scene, that's another great one. When Laurie looks out her window and he sees Michael standing there with the sheets blowing in the wind. Oh man, that's another favorite of mine. Yeah. So the lighting's great too. The blues they use in this. The sound effects isn't the greatest. They're called like stings or whatever. And when he jumps out, they're supposed to be jump scares, but they use stings. I guess that's what they're called. And whatever. That sound effects. I don't know. It does work and it doesn't. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I mean, it's okay. And I find John Carpenter always used that in his earlier films. Yeah, so it's not horrible or anything, but yeah. What else was I gonna say? The music is just fucking unbelievable. I love it. It's my favorite music we get in a horror film. Like all of the music written by John Carpenter, performed by John Carpenter. He is fucking awesome. And yeah, as a composer, like did a fucking awesome job. My favorite, yeah, music score in a horror film by far. Yeah, for sure. The Halloween theme song you get, Laurie's theme song, just like all the other music you get through this whole film. I love it. It's great. It really sets the tone and builds up the mood and atmosphere in it. And this whole movie is great mood and atmosphere too. Just the way they shot this film, it's great, man. Just even like that first like opening credits scene, like that is fucking great, man. It's probably my favorite opening credits scene. It is. It builds up, like sets it off so well, like it does. Just the opening credits scene, and then you get that those kids singing like Ghosts and Goblins on Halloween night. That's fucking awesome too. I love that. And then it just, you see Michael in the POV shot walking right up to the house. Like that whole like scene is great too. It builds up all that mood and atmosphere. It's so fucking well done. And just the whole movie's fucking awesome. Yeah, I'll say that. It's so fucking awesome. Yeah, there's like no special effects or really practical effects, not really. But yeah. I recommend this movie. I highly fucking recommend this movie. 100%. It's so good. It's my favorite horror film of all time for sure. Yeah, so the overall success of this movie was $300,000 roughly, and it made $70 million. Like, wow, it was huge for a slasher horror film at that time in '78. That's basically what started off like all the slasher films you get in the '80s was from this film. Yeah, there's other slashers before Halloween, but this is what like kicked it off for sure. Because everybody thought they could make big bank off a slasher film. It doesn't cost a lot of money, and it made $70 million off a $300,000 budget. 325, I think. 300. Yeah, 300,000. Yeah, around $325,000 budget, and they made 70 million off it. Like, that's fucking awesome, especially for that time. Yeah, and I rate this movie a 10 out of 10, man. It's a fucking 10 out of 10 for me. Hell yes. Alright, so yeah, that's my review for Halloween 1978. Alright. Thanks for watching, and yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, and if you feel like sharing this video, please do. Yeah, so I'll see you all next time. Bye, everybody.